All right, time for the airing of grievances. I know you got one that's got you a little lathered up. I'll give you the floor today.
Well, it's football related, of course, as far as just X's and O's. And, I don't understand, I've heard a lot of backlash, the last few days ever since our great Sunday night game about, why didn't the Patriots run the ball more? Why didn't they run the ball more? Why did they not run the ball more? Because nobody can run on the Bucs. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So actually, it was brilliant that they said, let's not waste our time and try to run the ball. We're not a good running team to this point this year. New England isn't. That's the disappointment of their team. They were dominant last year. They could run on anybody. Not been able to do that this year. Nobody can run on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, we saw opening night, the Dallas Cowboys can move every defensive line in football out of the way. They said the hell with the run game in that game. They said, we're not going to mess with it. So what did McDaniels and company do? Well, we'll find a million ways to throw the ball short and make up for the run game. And, so that to me, it's too much Monday morning quarterbacking going on a little bit. It's the context of the situation matters. All right. We can't just look at a stat sheet and go, well, they didn't run the ball. That was the problem of the game. No, they weren't going to be able to run the ball. They were going to waste their time and be in 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 11 all game long. So they threw short passes so they could be in 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5. I just, it bothers me at times, and it's not like McDaniels and Belichick are stupid and we're like, oh, yeah, I forgot to run the ball. I forgot. No, there was a reason. Yeah, it's the best run defense in football for the second year in a row, not even close.
And people who are loyal viewers and listeners of the program, and to those of you out there, we say thank you. They may remember that the day after the first game of the season, Cowboys-Bucks, you and I made the point that
Sure.
It's not sustainable for Dak Prescott to throw the ball 58 times, because the reaction to that was, well, they're going against the Bucks. They can't run it constantly. That's fine. We get that.
Yeah.
The point is, you still have to find balance in your offense in the future.
Right.
It can't
That's
be
for
58
sure.
throws per game, or your quarterback is not going to hold up. Against the Bucks, you can get away with it. Our observation was the Cowboys better have a different plan moving forward.
And they have. Right. They have. Exactly right.
They definitely have.
But you're going to see that. I think you're going to see that week in and week out against Tampa Bay. I mean, just teams, you can't do it. They're too big and athletic, and then they got two freak shows at linebacker who run around like they're chickens with their heads cut off, and they just run into walls and kill people. It's too hard. So teams are going to take other approaches, and especially when they have a banged-up secondary to go along with it, that's the weakness. So attack that. Don't let them off the hook and go, well, we just want to be balanced and run the ball just to run the ball. No, there's some weeks that you got to just do things a little differently according to your matchup.
We talked earlier about Urban Meyer and how he seems to think that if he just talks long enough, all of his problems will magically go away. The NFL takes the exact opposite approach when it comes to questions about officiating, and I think this is deliberate. I think it's strategic, and I think it's kind of brilliant because it's working. They just don't address it. No transparency, no accountability, no explanation, because if we don't address it, we don't legitimize it. It's like it didn't even happen if we don't have a Dean Blandino or Mike Pereira to run the video and discuss the calls. I don't think it's sustainable, but at least for now, it's resulting in not a whole lot of conversation. Last week, we brought to you the Chiefs-Chargers last play, blatant interference that should have given the Kansas City Chiefs first and goal from the 1 when Travis Kelce got tackled and Tyreek Hill was bear hugged, and that's that. Now, that was a true Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Okay, and supposedly there's different standards, even though the rule book, I checked the rule book, as you would say, the rule book does not say on a Hail Mary you're allowed to do things that you're otherwise not allowed to do when a ball is in the air. That's the way they treat it. Here's this week's, and this is not a Hail Mary. This is a throw to the end zone. Game over. See you later. Browns win 14-7. But wait, let's take a closer look at this. There's the throw. There's the ball. There's Adam Thielen. What is that on Adam Thielen's left arm? Oh, that's a guy's hand.
Brady Williams. All right.
Holding him in place and keeping him from breaking back to the ball. And I've had people say, oh, he never would have caught that ball. Yeah, he's never going to catch it if Greedy Williams is physically restraining him from the ball. I don't get it, Chris, and I don't know that a sky judge would fix this, but let's watch that. Thanks for rolling it back. Look at that. Here comes the ball. Go back a little more. Back. He can't get to the point where he could make a diving, lunging catch and force an extra point that would have resulted in overtime when he's being held.
No.
By
and Justin
Williams.
Jefferson's being held in the back of the end zone. I watched this play on film yesterday. Troy Hill's holding him. You could see him there in the right part of the screen. I mean, so it's a weird thing.
Great coaching.
It really is.
Great job by Joe Woods.
Right.
Great job by Joe Woods. Because,
Right.
hey, guys, look, they're not calling it.
Yeah.
We get ourselves in that setting, just grab them. And we'll play defense from the one if we have to. Don't let him catch it. Whatever you do, don't let him have a shot at catching the ball. And there's nothing. There's no explanation. There's no transparency. There's no acknowledgement. And Coach Dungy, he's the one. Now, I noticed it at the time, but I kind of forgot about it because there's 1,000 other things happening. And Coach Dungy said to me, did you see that play? And he put it out on Twitter, anxiously awaiting NFL officiating to explain why this is not defensive pass interference on the last play of the Browns-Vikings game. And we are still waiting for NFL officiating to explain why this is not defensive pass interference. And look, unless this is some sort of high-level Jedi mind trick being played on all of us to not acknowledge these issues and not create a story, not create news, and just kind of dare the rest of us to make it an issue. I don't like it. It's not good for anybody. They need transparency. They need accountability. This idea of go stick our head in the sand and hope it goes away, that's not the right way to do business. It may be effective, but I don't think it's the right way to do business.
No, I don't. Like we talked about a little last week, at some point it's going to be a major football game and something like this is going to happen. And, of course, like you've made the point with gambling and everything there, it's going to cause a huge controversy, and it's going to be an issue in the NFL. So something they better dive into a little bit. It does bother me that it is ref. I understand a little bit of a leeway in some of those Hail Mary plays and all that, but it's gotten to the point. No, it's not. I know that. I'm just saying
the Hail Mary play.
I know. I'm just saying the one the week before. I understand a little of okay, it's a little more physical than the normal play. But we've gone to the point where bear hugs are acceptable. You can just bear hug the guy. That's it. Bear hug it and get away with it. And that to me is not acceptable.
Yeah, I don't get it, and I don't know what the league is thinking about this, and I don't know what the league is telling the officials. I thought that after last week there would be a memo or something telling them to call these plays, and they apparently didn't get it because they didn't call it in the Browns-Vikings game, which makes me wonder, are we going to see it again, and are we going to be talking about it next Wednesday? Well, I'll guarantee you this. The league may not want to talk about it, but we will talk about it. Anyone out there that sees an uncalled instance of interference in those 1 o'clock Eastern games on a Sunday when it is just nonstop action and there are things that are easily missed, let us know about it. Because, and here's what happens. When I did it last week, Chargers fans get pissy. Oh, you're anti-Chargers. No. If you're going to have pass interference as a rule, you need to enforce it.
Right.
This week, the Browns fans, what about this? What about that? I don't care about anything that happened in the game until the last play, final play, ball thrown to the end zone. We're all deprived of an exciting moment. And I know you want to protect your team and you're glad to get out of Dodge with the victory, but don't we want to see athletic achievement?
That's what I'm amazed by. Right.
Somebody make that catch. Isn't that more exciting than seeing the ball hit the ground and the game end? Look, if you're going to have the rule, you got to enforce it. That's my point. And it's a pretty important rule, pretty important circumstance, pretty important outcome that gets determined by whether or not the flag gets thrown.
Yeah, that's I think is the surprising thing to me is just the theatrics of that moment. You would think the NFL wants it, and they don't let it happen at all. In the era of of course, fantasy football and offense and yards, and that's all that sells. That's what we want, and we just want to favor the offense all the time. On those plays, it's gone totally reversed there, and it is weird.
And you make a great point, Chris. Why is there a different standard on Hail Marys? Why is that the case? The rule book doesn't say that. Yeah, it's kind of like an implied know it when you see it that is not articulated anywhere in the rule book. The competition committee is behind it because when they talked about replay review and adopting that for pass interference in 2019, that was one of the issues. What do we do in a Hail Mary? Well, what does the rule book say? It doesn't say anything. I think somebody would be wise to take a step back, whether it's the commissioner, whether it's Troy Vincent, whether it's Rich McKay, whether it's somebody. Take a step back and ask yourself, why are we allowing any type of contact on a Hail Mary play that would otherwise be flagged? And is it in our interests to throw those flags or not throw those flags? I think it's in the best interest of the game to enforce the rules as written and throw that flag. And then talk about excitement. We get first and goal from the one.
Exactly. Yeah.
You score from the one, we get overtime, or you win the game, or whatever the case may be. I think they really need to rethink the idea that we're going to give the officials kind of a pass, not expect them to see interference on the last play of the game, because we just accept the fact that in that jostling of bodies, somebody is going to break the rules.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. It's kind of just one of those things that's been accepted and gone forward, and it just, okay. And it's kind of like festered more and more, where it's just gone more. Let's swipe it under the rug more. Like, a little elbow push would have been called in the 70s. We were. You're mad about the Cowboys-Vikings thing, right? I mean, that
shoved to the ground.
Right? I mean, but that's like way less egregious than some of the stuff we've seen right now. I know, but you know what I'm talking about. So
I'm just. I'm talking to the control room. Please, don't. We got to go. We got to take a break. No, don't play. Thank you, Pete.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.